Hey, welcome back to Psychology. Today we're talking about Chapter 5, which is on consciousness. And let's begin. Our biofeedback has shed some light on the nature of consciousness. Biofeedback is a system of monitoring and feeding back information about certain biological processes. Biofeedback monitors show, for example, when a person's heart rate is slower. Applications of biofeedback helps people see how voluntary behavior affects involuntary behavior. Biofeedback is used to treat high blood pressure, seizures, migraine headaches, and digestive disorders. Section 1. The study of consciousness. Consciousness, like intelligence or emotions, is a construct. That is, it is a concept that cannot be seen, touched, or measured directly. Consciousness has a number of different meanings, including sensory awareness, direct inner awareness, and sense of self. There are several levels of consciousness, including the pre-consciousness, unconscious, and non-conscious. Consciousness is the awareness of things that are both inside and outside of ourselves, an elusive but essential subject of study for psychologists. Why is consciousness a psychological construct? What are the general meanings of consciousness, and what distinguishes the different levels of consciousness from full conscious awareness? These are the ideas that we need to be able to answer by the completion of this section. Consciousness means the awareness of things that are both inside and outside ourselves. Psychologists have not always thought that consciousness should be a part of the study of psychology. Today, however, many psychologists believe that consciousness can be studied scientifically. Consciousness is a psychological construct because it cannot be seen, touched, or measured directly. Consciousness is known by its effects on behavior. Consciousness as sensory awareness. One meaning of consciousness is sensory awareness of the environment. The meaning of consciousness is being aware of things outside of yourself. Focusing on particular stimulus is referred to as selective attention. Direct inner awareness is when you are conscious of thoughts, images, and emotions, memories, or abstract concepts. This meaning of consciousness is being aware of things inside yourself. Consciousness as a sense of self means that we are aware of ourselves and our existence. Only when young children grow older do they begin to understand that they are unique individuals separate from other people and from their surroundings. The preconscious level. Preconscious is thought is stored knowledge that is retrievable into conscious awareness. Information stored in unconscious level is unavailable to awareness under most circumstances. The non-conscious level refers to bodily processes such as growing of hair, which we are not aware. Altered states of consciousness. In altered states of consciousness, a person's sense of self, sense of the world changes. Examples are sleep or hypnosis. So this is the famous Freudian vision of what consciousness is like. The surface level is our perceptions and thoughts, and that's the tip of the iceberg. Yet beneath the level, we have our preconscious, where we have our memories and stored levels, which is just below the surface. And then the unconscious level is where our selfish needs and violent motives are, and our immoral urges, fears, irrational wishes, shameful experiences, and unacceptable desires. Section 2. Sleep and dreams. The sleep cycle is made up of 4 stages of sleep and REM sleep. Sleep serves important physical and psychological needs. Common sleep problems include insomnia, nightmares, night terrors, sleepwalking, sleep apnea, and narcolepsy. So in this section, we should understand that sleeping and dreaming are essential to human health, although many questions remain. Some people are troubled by various sleep problems. So by the end of this section, you should be able to answer, what is the sleep cycle? How have psychologists explored the importance of sleep and dreams? And what are sleep problems? Much of how people and animals and plants function is governed by circadian rhythms or biological clocks. Circadian rhythms in humans include a sequence of bodily changes that occurs every 24 hours. The most studied circadian rhythm is the sleep-wake cycle. The stages of sleep. Sleep stages are described in terms of brainwave patterns. There are 5 stages of sleep. Stage 1 is the lightest stage of sleep. Stage 4 is the deepest state. REM sleep, however, after about 30 minutes of stage 4 sleep, we return to stage 3, then stage 2, then in stage 1, where it's a light sleep, and this is where REM takes place. It takes about 90 minutes. Then another stage of sleep begins, and it's called rapid eye movement. REM sleep, beneath the closed lids, the eyes move rapidly. This typical sleep pattern, most people go through the cycle 5 times in an 8-hour night. As night progresses, stages 3 and 4 become shorter and REM sleep becomes longer. Brain waves are shown in the circles. So what is the deepest stage of sleep? Stage 4 is the deepest state of sleep. People need to sleep to revive a tired body, build up resistance to infections. Sleep may help people recover from stress, consolidate memories. REM sleep seems to help animals and people learn, remember, and retain information. REM sleep is when we have the most vivid dreams. People dream in color and in black and white. People seem to dream in real time. People do not always remember their dreams. Sigmund Freud theorized that dreams reflect a person's unconscious wishes and urges. He also believed people dream in symbols as a way to deal with painful material they cannot otherwise deal with consciously. The biopsychological approach. Some psychologists believe that dreams begin with biological, not psychological activity. According to this view, neurons fire during sleep. The neurons fire in the sleep part of the brain that controls movement and vision. The brain tries to make sense of them dreaming. Sleep problems. Insomnia is the inability to sleep. The most common insomnia is difficulty in falling asleep. Many psychologists believe the best way to overcome insomnia do not involve medication. They recommend using relaxation techniques, establishing regular bedtimes, and using pleasant images to relax. Nightmares and night terrors. Nightmares are a product of REM sleep. People who are anxious or depressed are more likely to have nightmares. Night terrors, however, are similar to nightmares, but they are more severe. Night terrors tend to occur during deep sleep. Many children walk in their sleep. Most children outgrow sleepwalking as they mature. To some extent, they believe that sleepwalking may be a factor that the pons mechanism, which helps regulate your arousal functions, hasn't matured sufficiently. And so that's why. Because typically when we're sleeping, the pons will shut down our motor cortex so that we don't get up and walk around. And with lack of physical or mature development within the brain, they believe this is what's causing the sleepwalking. At least that's one of the things they speculate on. Sleep apnea. Sleep apnea is a breathing interruption that occurs during sleep. About 10 million Americans have sleep apnea. Narcolepsy is a rare sleep problem in which people suddenly fall asleep no matter what time it is and where they are. It is believed to be a genetic disorder of the REM sleep function. So, the main types of sleep problems are insomnia, nightmares, night terrors, and sleepwalking. Sleep deprivation in teens. Lack of sleep affects both the mind and the body. Sleep deprivation can produce mental states of fatigue, drowsiness, and irritability. In addition, the lack of sleep can contribute to physical symptoms such as weight gain, heart disease, and other symptoms and ailments. Teenagers who do not get enough sleep can also develop these problems. Studies show a link between the lack of sleep and increased rates of obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure. Teenagers need about 9.2 hours of sleep a night. Many high school students get less than 9.2 hours of sleep a night. Lack of adequate sleep puts teenagers at risk for weight gain, poor school performance, car accidents, alcohol abuse, and drug abuse. Starting school later might be one possible solution to insufficient sleep by teenagers. Section 3. Altered states of consciousness can be achieved while awake through biofeedback, meditation, and hypnosis. There are many myths surrounding hypnosis. Although there are controversies related to the use of hypnotism, hypnosis can be used to recall memories, reduce pain, and quit bad habits. A variety of techniques have been developed in order to achieve altered states of consciousness. So at the end of this section, we should be able to mention or answer how meditation and biofeedback work, what is hypnosis, and how can hypnosis be used. People use meditation to narrow their consciousness so that the stress of the outside world fades away. Evidence suggests that meditation can help people relax. Studies have found that meditation is an effective way to lower blood pressure. Biofeedback is a system that provides or feeds back data about something that is happening in the body. People have used biofeedback to treat headaches, lower blood pressure, and biofeedback has been used to treat ADHD. Hypnosis is a condition in which people appear to be highly suggestible and to behave as if they are in a trance. Some psychologists believe that hypnosis is an altered state of consciousness. Others wonder whether hypnosis is truly an altered state of consciousness. Hypnosis dates back to the 1700s with the work of Franz Mesmer. Today, doctors and psychologists use hypnosis in a variety of ways, and as an anesthetic to help reduce anxiety and manage pain, or to overcome fears. Professional hypnotists may put people into hypnotic trance, asking them to focus on something specific. People who are easily hypnotized are said to have hypnotic suggestibility. Sigmund Freud's explanation was hypnotized people put fantasy and impulse before fact and logic. Therefore, they believe what the hypnotist tells them. The role theory explanation, however, states that hypnotized people are playing a part as if they are in a play. Unlike actors, however, hypnotized people may believe what they are doing is real. There is no generally accepted explanation for hypnosis. There are many false beliefs of hypnotism. Some of the most common myths are listed here, along with the facts. You can be hypnotized against your will. No. No one can be hypnotized unless he or she is willing to be. When hypnotized, you can't open your eyes. Being hypnotized does not fundamentally affect the normal functioning of the senses. You cannot remember your own name. You can remember everything you normally would remember. You act out scenes from childhood. You don't typically act out scenes at all. You behave in an unusual way. The fact is, you usually behave quite normally. The myth is you will do anything. The fact is you are unlikely to do anything that you wouldn't normally do. The myth is you go into a sleep state. The fact is you stay conscious and relatively alert the entire time you're in hypnosis. Hypnosis and memory. Hypnosis is not a reliable approach to help people remember details of a crime. Many psychologists argue that material recalled under hypnosis should not be used in testimony and trials. Hypnosis has been used to help people prevent pain. A similar effect can be achieved through relaxation techniques and breathing exercises. Hypnosis and quitting bad habits. Therapists may use post-hypnotic suggestions to help people quit a bad habit. In a post-hypnotic suggestion, the therapist gives instruction during the hypnosis that the patient is to carry out after the session has ended. Multicultural perspective and unconsciousness, visions, dreams, meditation, and hallucinations are important components of many cultures, reflecting the human desire to reach beyond what senses can perceive directly. The methods of reaching these altered states of consciousness, however, are as diverse as the people who inhabit the planet. Australian Aborigines use ritual songs, dances, stories, dreams to create a dreamtime world. The Malawi use dancing to create an altered state of consciousness. They are known as whirling dervishes. The Hindu yoga school uses meditation to achieve an altered state of consciousness. Buddhists meditate to achieve a state of enlightenment called nirvana. The Inca in the Andean highlands of South America use a drug called yagé to induce hallucinations. The Hickel Indians use peyote to induce hallucinations as well. Section 4, Drugs and Consciousness. Depressants slow down the nervous system and increase the activity of the nervous system. Hallucinogens produce hallucinations. Treatments for drug abuse include detoxification, maintenance programs, counseling, and support groups. So what you should be getting out of this section is that depressants, stimulants, and hallucinogens are all drugs that can affect consciousness. Drug abuse can be dealt with in a number of available treatments. So the questions you want to be able to answer at the end of this section is, how do depressants affect the body? What are stimulants? What are hallucinogens? And how do treatments for drug abuse work? Many drugs are addictive. Addiction to a drug means that after a person takes that drug for a while, the body craves it just to feel normal. Depressants are drugs that slow the activity in the nervous system. Alcohol is the most widely used drug in the United States. Alcohol is a depressant. It causes intoxication or drunkenness. Regular consumption can lead to addiction. Narcotics are addictive. Depressants used to relieve pain and induce sleep. Many are derived from the opium poppy plant. They include morphine and heroin. Stimulants increase the activity of the nervous system. They include nicotine, amphetamines, methamphetamines, and cocaine. Nicotine is one of the most common stimulants. It spurs the release of adrenaline. Regular use can lead to addiction. Nicotine is found in tobacco. Cigarette smoking is as addictive as heroin. Amphetamines are stimulants, often used for staying awake and reducing appetite. They can cause hallucinations, perceptions that seem to be real but are not, and delusions that are known as false ideas that seem real. One extremely addictive form is methamphetamine. Cocaine is a stimulant derived from the leaves of a coca plant. It raises blood pressure, increases heart rate, and decreases supply of oxygen. The use of cocaine can sometimes cause death. One very harmful form is known as crack. Hallucinogens. Hallucinogens is a drug that produces hallucinations. Marijuana produced from the leaves of the cannabis sativa plant may produce feelings of relaxation and mild hallucinations. It impairs perception, coordination, memory, and learning. It can have severe side effects. LSD can produce intense hallucinations, sometimes called acid, and can cause injury or suicide. Side effects include memory loss, violent outbursts, nightmares, and panic. Other hallucinogens are mushrooms that contain psilocybin, which produces altered perceptions, confusion, anxiety, and panic. Peyote, which contains mescaline, and ecstasy, a pill that produces hallucinations, increased energy loss of judgment, and serious effects including nausea and high blood pressure. Treatments for drug abuse varies depending on the drug. One treatment is detoxification. Harmful substances are removed from the body, most commonly used with alcohol and narcotic addiction. Other treatments include maintenance programs, counseling, and support groups. Types of drug treatment. Detoxification is the removal of the harmful substance from the body. The maintenance program is controlled amounts of the drug is given to participants. Counseling is group or individual session, and support groups are people with similar problems sharing common experiences. So, what is the connection between adequate sleep and student academic achievement? You will work with a partner to design and run an experiment that tests sleep deprivation and memory. You'll include a hypothesis, a dependent variable, independent variable, a control group, an experimental group, and a random assignment. Step 1. Operational definition. State the hypothesis. Step 2. Carry out the procedures in your textbook. Reveal the findings of your experiment in a brief presentation in the class. What did you learn in the course of conducting the experiment? What surprised you the most in conducting the experiment? What would you change if you conducted the experiment again? Small groups of classmates will compare their experiences in the experiment. After a small group discussion, each group will write up a report. Then the whole class will compare reports. That concludes our discussion on consciousness for Chapter 5 in psychology.